Welcome to the Homeschool Together podcast. Where one working mom and a stay-at-home dad help you navigate the nuts and bolts of the growing and dynamic world of homeschooling.
With a focus on early learners, like me.
All the ins and outs of building and maintaining your homeschool life.
Homeschool.
Find out tips and tricks to make things like this easier.
I'm reading.
And ultimately, enjoy educating your kids. And what's that last thing?
Have fun together. Did I do good, Daddy?
Yeah, you did, sweetie. Good job. Hello and welcome to Homeschool Together Short Bite Edition. We have a very special edition here. We actually have an interview with one of our listeners, Kathleen Decker, is going to talk to us a little bit about curriculum that she's been using in her homeschool environment. We're going to talk a little bit about the kindergarten math with confidence. Would you be able to walk us through what kindergarten math with confidence is like? You know, what are your day-to-day sections and the workbooks like, and how do you like the program and whatnot?
Hi, so kindergarten math with confidence, I think, is best compared to Right Start Math.
Okay.
I think that's like the most close, like the closest curriculum that it's compared to, even within the kindergarten or the Math with Confidence Facebook group, mainly because it has a lot of hands-on elements to it. And it uses manipulatives. The main difference with kindergarten math with confidence and just math with confidence in general is they have in the back, they have resources where you can copy some of the manipulatives that you need for the curriculum and cut them out yourself. So you don't have to purchase a lot of the manipulatives. There are some things that you do have to purchase. A lot of things are household items that you can find around the house or that are easily sourced and fairly inexpensive. So it's a more financially reachable curriculum for a lot of families, especially if you're not sure what kind of style your child will be responsive to, and you don't want to shell out all the money for it. And this one is a good resource for that.
Do you remember? Do you remember what the price was on that?
I believe for kindergarten math with confidence, it's $50 for the teacher's guide and the student workbook.
Okay, great.
So for the teacher's guide specifically is the meat of this curriculum. That, if anything else, if nothing else, you want the teacher's guide. It has everything in it. It's scripted. If you like scripted curriculum, if you're not confident in your math skills or in relaying the information or the way that the math is taught, it is scripted to tell you exactly how to teach your child, and it has kind of varied responses on there of what to expect from your child and how to guide them to the answer if they're not quite reaching it. It's very thorough. So the author, from what I recall, she is a PhD, I believe, from Harvard, who created this curriculum. And she is well-versed in math, and she actually did the Math That Sticks supplements as well, which part of it is implemented in the next level. But for kindergarten math with confidence, it has in the beginning sections kind of an overview of what you are teaching your child in that section, what the kind of benchmarks for that section are for your child. So at the end of that, it'll tell you like, okay, does your child do A, B, C, or D? If not, reinforce with this, go back and, kind of go back on some of the lessons to kind of reinforce it before moving on to the next section, because it kind of builds on each other that way. And then in the lessons themselves, there are little blurbs where it explains why you're teaching your child the way you are teaching them, which I feel is very useful, so that you can kind of see and understand what your kid is learning, and why it's important, kind of. And then the layout of the teacher's manual and the curriculum itself, it's set up in 4 days. So you get 4 lessons a week. It's like, lesson 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. The 5th day is kind of just left as either filler, or if you want to, explore more, but it's only 4 lessons per chapter. And you start, well, if you're further in the book, you start with a review of some of the games that you play, because you also play some math games in this, which we have enjoyed immensely. You play like make 10 kind of go fish games and things like that, or memory match games. And they reinforce other concepts from earlier in the book. So it has a little bit of a spiral element to it, because you're not just moving on from a section and then never going back to it, because you play that game again later on, and it'll reference like go back to section whatever for the rules to this game, or you'll play a similar game and they'll just change it a little bit to the new concept that you're learning, which is also really fun because your child is familiar with the game, but now there's a little bit of an added challenge to it as you move along with the curriculum. So you start with like a game that you're either learning or that you're reviewing. And then you move on to the actual lesson. And generally the lessons are hands-on. There is workbook pages that you do for this curriculum, but for kindergarten, it is one page and it's at the very, very end of the lesson. So the meat of it is that game, and then teaching the actual lesson, which is a hands-on, it's almost always a hands-on type of lesson. For example, like we were learning about coins, and, we had to count them and recognize a nickel and pennies and their worth, and how much money you have when you combine them, kinds of things. And you just work through that lesson. And then you go to the workbook page, and it kind of reinforces that same lesson on that workbook page. And on that workbook page, you start with your numbers at the top, and they trace the numbers, counting 1, 2, 3, 4. We're further on, and so it's going to 2s, 4s, 6, 8s, and it's kind of, my son's kind of recognizing that, oh, we're skipping numbers now. Are we counting by 2s? And I'm like, I guess we are now. And it's a fun, gentle approach. And then the actual workbook page is you color, or you trace, or you write your number, or whatever it's asking you to do. And the joy that I have in this one is my son, who he absolutely adores this program. Sometimes he'll just be like, oh, Mom, I know what they're talking about. This is what and he'll explain to me the concept. I'm like, yes, it is. So it's really joyful for me to see like that this program is reaching him, and he's actually understanding so much more about math than I ever thought a kindergarten math curriculum ever would.
So you would consider it a recommendation that you're going to continue using this with all your children?
I will use it with him.
Okay.
My oldest one uses a separate math program.
Okay.
And mainly the difference is this program is Math with Confidence. I already bought first grade because I know we're going to continue on with him.
Okay.
They only have kindergarten and first grade out right now. Second grade won't be released until next year. And then I believe third grade the second and third grade are being piloted, but third grade isn't going to be released for 2 more years. My son's entering third grade math, so he's beyond Math with Confidence. If he was at the level where he could use it, we would probably use it as a supplement to have the fun games and the fun interactives with it. But with my oldest one, he's very much a literal child. I want to know what it is. I want to get it done, and then I'm done with it. My second son, he likes to have fun. He wants it to be fun. He wants it to be a game. He wants, to enjoy it, for him to engage with it and to really benefit from it. And this program hits all those points on that, where he asks, Mom, can we do math today? Mom, I'm ready to do math. Mom, can I do another lesson? So he'll ask to do, some days, if it's like a really easy concept, he's like, oh, I can do another one. And we did a whole section once, mainly because it was like shapes, and he knew his shapes already. And so he's like, let me knock this out of the way. So I was like, let's knock it out of the way. So we've really enjoyed it with him. And I can definitely see the benefit of number sense that he is gaining from it, and the understanding, like we're just starting addition right now. And he's really understanding the concept of what addition is and what it means, just by the different ways it's being presented and the different games that we're playing, which are also really, really fun. Like I didn't know how I would teach a child addition. I didn't know how I would approach this concept of adding things together. And it does it in such a fun, joyful way that, it's, to me, I'm even learning like, oh, this is really fun. This is what addition is. This is really cool. Yeah, so for him, we will definitely be continuing on. Unfortunately, they don't have enough levels for my older one. And again, he's not much of a game player when it comes to math.
Great. Well, thank
Great.
you so much. That we really appreciate your input and your review. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks so much for joining us today and making us a part of your homeschool journey. Please engage with us on social media. Join our Homeschool Together podcast group on Facebook and find us at Homeschool Together Podcast on Instagram. We'd love to hear your feedback, questions, and recommendations. Until next time.
Happy homeschooling!